Hello, welcome to another stream. I haven't been adding too many cards this week. In fact, I don't think I've added any. I've tweaked a card, but I haven't added one. But that's because I'm trying to make a demo build, not demo build, a test build for a play test, hopefully before Christmas. So keep posted for that, because I will send out an email, stroke Discord, and I'll probably post it on Steam as well for ways to sign up to the next play test. I just want to check that I'm still on the right track and it's starting to be fun for everyone else as well. So yeah, so basically, but that does mean the next week or two are going to be a little bit lighter on new features, and I'm trying to really just get rid of as many bugs as I can and try and make the UX better and the tutorial system a bit better, just so that it should be a bit easier to get the hang of when you first play it. So what I do this week, as I said, no cards this week. I might try and add one or two next week. I'm trying to add one or two every week, but yeah, this week wasn't a good week for it. I did splitters are a card that keeps doubling and doubling and doubling and doubling, which is super powerful. And I really liked it doubling and doubling, but it was super useful, super overpowered really. So I have now put in an exhaust, so when you use it, you only get to use it once per combat. You get it again after the next combat, but every combat you lose it. Overload reactors used to just cause damage, 50% chance of causing a damage, but now it produces fires, which is a little bit more interesting, I think. So maybe we'll get to see that. Yeah, so I removed the available munitions. There's a little sort of thing showing how many of the different types of munitions you've got, and I thought that was going to be super useful when I put it in, but I just never look at it. So instead of cluttering up the UI, I've decided to just get rid of it, and you can just look at how many munitions you've got by looking at your ship. So I'm interested to see how that works for new players when the playtest comes out. I done some stuff. I haven't quite finished it, but started making it a bit more obvious that you've got upgrades, so that new users, new players can see that something's been upgraded. And as I said, updating tutorials, so things should be a little bit more playable for people that are trying it for the first time. Card of the week, Hold Her Steady. This is quite a fun one. So this increases targeting, or accuracy as I think I'm going to call it, just for this turn. So it's good for sort of playing and then firing a few things. So I'm adding this to our deck from the beginning, so you'll see it quite soon. I'm going to reset the tutorials just so you can see some of the new tutorial stuff, and I'll begin. So I'm glad you're back on the bridge. You're looking steady already. That thing threw you so hard against the bulkhead. So this is just an introduction. I'm hoping to get some artwork for this at some point, just so that you have a good first impression of the game. And then you've got to make your way back to Earth. So we've got to get back before they completely ravage it. I've just tightened up some of the wording here, so there's not quite so much to read when you first come in. But this is explaining about the resources you have. And you can make decisions via this panel. Eventually the decisions will be quite interesting, but now it's just go back to Earth and intercept people, but it will become more of a way to do events and fun things in the future. But yeah, one thing I didn't mention was that I've also made the tooltips on this a bit nicer, so you can see that why this is -5 per day. So I have 5 energy generated by the reactor and 10 consumed by the engine, so -5 every day. If I go full ahead, you can see that I have the same amount generated by the reactor, but I'm using 20 by the engine. And if you go dead slow, they balance each other out perfectly. So you're never completely stuck. You can always go limp back to Earth, but you will probably not make it back before it gets destroyed. So you do have to kind of hunt down some more resources on your way, which is what we'll do. So carry on. Quiet day. So there's a chance of being detected and detecting every day. That's just trying to show that you don't always have a day where something happens. So we're now 19 light years away from Earth. Devastation's increasing on Earth, slowly but surely. We detected a small ship. It's a difficulty 1 ship, just a scout, and it has this much max salvage. If I didn't destroy it at all, damage it at all, I'd get all of this, but of course I will have to damage it a bit. So skip to the next day. So it's happening to be heading towards me anyway. So I am going to engage. One of these streams I'll have to start with a harder enemy. Maybe I'll start mid-run. That might be quite an interesting idea. If I can't consistently get through a run during the hour that I'm going to spend on this, then I might start a bit later at some point. So you don't keep seeing this beginner ship again and again. So we're in combat. You can defeat them by destroying their structural integrity or bringing their morale to 0. Your ship also has structural integrity, and if you lose it all, you're gone. Game over. So this is probably the fanciest tutorial I have now. So this is I've had quite a lot of people in my initial play tests saying they don't really understand what accuracy does. So I'm trying to make it super clear with these images. So if you have high accuracy, you can see you've got a very tight spread. So they're both firing 6 shots, but one of them can pretty much breach the hull, whereas the other are so spread out that you can't really get into the hull. So it's a very visual representation of that. I've also made it very clear that your energy carries over, because I don't think that's immediately clear. So yeah, I'm quite happy with this new tutorial. And then it talks about projectile cards, and again trying to ram home this idea of accuracy. And then explaining about maneuvers, about flipping and moving closer and further away. So there we go. I should probably not. I think when I click that OK, it kind of clicks the background there. So that's probably something I want to block. So I've got to hold her steady straight away. So what I will do is show that to you straight away, because I can hold her steady. So if I fire these torpedoes now, you can see that it's sort of spread out this much. But if I hold her steady, I get 3, so I get this targeting bonus for 1 turn, and I get 3 accuracy just for this turn. So I can do this. What I could do is even cooler than this. I can maybe sneak into try and get their bridge again. I'll take their bridge there. And this is explaining how you have to marshal your torpedoes across the zone. They don't just get there straight away, they need to get there safely. So I can't fire the torpedoes here, but I can flip and expose this one on this side and then fire it. So I tried to make the most out of my extra targeting this turn. That's quite good. That was a pretty much ideal first turn. So let enemy salvos incoming. Just explaining how you shoot it. This is explaining how you can redraw. You have a certain amount of redraws per turn. We've only got 1 left, and I've added this new warning that when you end turn, it kind of says, well, did you remember you've got redraws remaining, because it's sometimes you forget and you end up having about 13 redraws. So I'm not going to fire point defense straight away, because that's much more effective close range. So if I try now, it's only going to shoot down 2, but if it gets closer, it will manage to eventually shoot down 4. I could buy some more draws, but right now I think energy is more important, so I'm going to not do that. I'm going to actually redraw that. Ion Pulse is useful in certain situations, but it's very expensive on energy. So I'm going to lock on, because that just permanently increases your accuracy. Well, I say permanently, they can reduce it, but it increases it until it gets decreased by something that they do, or something that happens to your ship. I could evade this. That's the other thing I could do. I could use some energy to evade and take out 3 of those now, because the further away it is, the better. But as they've only fired 1, I might as well save my point defense. So I am going to save that energy for next turn, and 3 next turn. I should have more of these tutorials where it's contextual. It's noticed that I've got Ion Pulse, and it's noticed that they're evading. So it's saying, you know, you might want to use, if I use the ion pulse on their engines, it would stop them evading. How did they remove that? Did they evade on a previous turn? No, they shot down that with point defense last time. I'm not really concentrating on what they're doing. So they will evade 3 more, which is a bit annoying. What I might do is actually take them up on that. I might sort of go and say, you know what, these are quite highly targeted ones, so I'm going to take out their engines, and I might as well take out the reactor while I'm there. There we go, so now they can no longer evade. I need to push that in. So I've still got point defense, which doesn't require any energy, it just requires ammunition, but again, it's only going to knock 3 out this turn, so I'm going to wait till the very last minute, and then boom, 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 boom. So it's even better, they waste their energy trying to. So I've made a nice juicy hole in here, because I had a good tuck, because I was holding her steady. I can reload now. Now, I could try and get the light torpedoes in again, but it would be really nice if I got another hold her steady. First, I'm going to get rid of that. I don't want to forget about it. In fact, I'm wondering if I should have more warnings here saying, remember that there's something just about to hit you, or remember that your crew member's just about to like bleed out. So that I might end up having more of these sort of, are you sure you want to end your turn warnings? So effective command. Do I want to buy more redraws? No, I think energy is more important right now. So I'm going to, I could scramble their targeting, but they're not being particularly deadly now. Maybe I'll save that as well. I could reload I could evade the last one, but actually I think because there's only one projectile, that pip means there's only one projectile in this salvo. I think that I'm going to just take the hit and save the energy, because the energy is going to be much more valuable. So I'm going to redraw that. 2 reloads. I'm going to redraw that. I'm going to lock on. Then maybe that's enough to fire this. Yeah, so maybe I can try and exploit this hole. Oh, they are flipping. They're going to flip to the other side. That's going to be useful to either have another. If you take down their engines, you can take. They're quite vulnerable, those engines. I could have whacked them out. Maybe I'll do that now. Then a light torpedo, which is very fast. So that will get there quite quickly, especially if I could move closer. But anyway, I've run out of energy, so there's not much I can do. So that harmlessly hit my hull there. So I've taken some damage. It's saying that I can come and repair it, so I could get someone to come and repair this. There's a tiny bit of damage to this, but it's still functional, that weapon, so I think I'm in good shape. They're going to reload, which is good for me. Gives me a little extra turn breathing room. I've got 2 more redraws. I don't need the evade. Could reload and fire another light. I'd really rather have a heavy. Another reload. Later on in the game, actually reloads become less. They get more diluted in your deck. So they seem like they're coming up too much now, but later they come on up too little. So you've got to do some management of your reloads as the game progresses. So as I've got no more redraws, I'm just going to fire off. This is where you've got to think about long term. So I could just fire these, or I could wait. I'd really like to have that hold her steady and then really kind of get a nice tight burst, because lights are pretty weak, but if I can focus them on one spot, I can probably sort of punch through their armor. So I've taken down one of their engines, which means that evasion is 50% effective. They could still flip though. I should make it that it would be quite interesting to make it so that maybe the cards could be more expensive for them, and maybe like flip can be more expensive, because flip is more expensive for you when your thrust ratio, when your thrust's down, or at least it will be. I'm not sure I've actually got that system in yet, but it will be. These maneuvers will be more expensive, so maybe their thing should be less. They flipping should be twice as expensive. Anyway, I'm musing. Let's carry on. I'm next turn, so I've got 3 redraws. They haven't fired at me. They're going to fire at me next turn, so I'm going to keep that point defense in my hand. I'm going to see if I didn't need to do that one. I need to do this one. I'm going to use that reload. I'm going to save reload that. Here we are. Hold us steady. So this is what I'm going to try and do. I'm going to go hold us steady, and then I'm going to try and punch through. It's even smaller now, look, because we've got 5 targeting. So I'm going to try. I'm really going for their bridge because I want to do minimal damage to their hard points. These are very valuable. If I start smashing these up, it's great because it stops them shooting at me, but they will give me some really good early salvage, which will let me upgrade my ship early on. So what I could do is I could move closer, and then they hit in 1 turn. So this light's going to hit next turn, which is pretty nice for me. I was hoping maybe that I would get another, but I could fire off those as well into that tight spot. So even though that those lights just do pathetic amount of damage, I have managed to sort of cut a little hole in there. They might even start flipping again. So we've got 2 reloads. If I use 1 there, they've got two inbound torpedoes, so I'm going to have to think about those at some point. I could just fire the torpedoes here, but I might do my same trick. What I might do is go into a little bit of a defensive run, and then I will fire, see if I can collect 2 basic torpedoes in my hand. Because the other thing about this game is that these stay in your hand, so you're kind of trying to sort of synergize them as you go. It's not like Slay the Spire where they all get completely regenerated every time. You choose when you're going to discard them. And I'm toying, and I don't even know how it's going to work from a UI perspective, but maybe you can start and make upgrades to have even more slots. I don't know how it fits, because this game's already quite busy from a UI perspective. Maybe because I've got rid of a lot of this stuff here, I can shrink this down and move it out of the way, and then have some more one more card slot that you could buy. Because having 6 would be super nice, wouldn't it? If you could, pay for an upgrade. Anyway, I really have to worry about these torpedoes. So I've got 2 choices. I can shoot 1 down. I can move away, so I can save the problem for another day. And that's probably what I will do. What I might do is see. I'm evade at this range. Evade is the opposite. So evade is useless at close range, but very good at long range. So I'm going to try and see if I can get another point defense. If I don't, I'm going to do something maybe clever. Shunt would be. I'm going to get rid of the light. Okay. So I'm not going to spend the energy on the effective command. I'm going to go boom. I'm going to flip. I'm going to fight. Hang on. Oh, I hadn't loaded it. I thought this was loaded, and this I didn't check before I did it. I thought, there we go. I am not that clever. I didn't check. Should have thought. Anyway, I can. Actually, no, I can reload it. I've got enough energy, so I could reload this. There we go. Not so stupid. And there we go. Nice couple of tight torpedoes coming in. They're going to fire some more at me. Oh no! What, I was saving that energy to move away. I am stupid. Oh, I shouldn't play this when I'm so tired. Okay, I'm just going to have to... Well, you can see what damage it's done. It's no fun if I don't. It's not difficult. So, they've actually disabled this torpedo launcher now with that salvo. Which might not be a problem. I might get somebody on it there. So this Sophia, has got Ion Pulse and Lock On. And you have presumably Lock On and Scramble. I'm going to get Sophia to fix this. So this is saying that when they move away from their post, those 2 cards are now no longer in my deck until she moves back. Right, I'm going to save this point defense. Yeah, I meant to move back with that last bit of energy rather than reload. But, the plus side is that... Sorry, I just noticed something. Anyway, the plus side I was going to say is that I did fire 2 salvos off at close range, so they're not going to be happy about that. I took damage, they're going to take more damage. But the reason I'm laughing is because they're trying to evade, but because I've taken one of their engines out, there's 50% effective. So they normally would have just taken 1 because evade isn't very useful against at close range, but because it's only half an effective and it's rounding down, those poor little guys are going to spend 2 energy not evading anything. If they were trying to evade something, I could have shunted it forwards, but I think I got lucky. I'm going to save my energy and see what happens next turn, because I might need those refills there. Very good. Okay, my first shot's inside the bridge. So Captain Reptoria has taken some damage, and Jack, the pilot, has taken damage. So the other thing that I improved is that if you hover over anywhere on this morale, you can see why they're getting upset. So they can see they're panicked now. So this is the thing that really shook them up. And you can see why it shook them up, because the bridge being damaged is a special kind of thing that makes them unhappy. So you see the contribution from just the general ship damage. They have done some damage to me recently, so they're quite happy about that. But their bridge is damaged, and they've taken much more damage than us in total. So they have unhappy face. They're trying to flip the ship, but the crew is freaking out, so they're not going to do that. But I have a few problems I need to deal with, and I probably could get rid of them by just going back. So let's just try and... So one thing I could do is go bang, back, and then evade. So evade at the moment is worth only 1. But if I go move away, and then evade, I'll move 3. And it buys me 2 turns, by which time I probably won anyway. So I'm going to just... I could evade again. It's fun. And then... Yeah, I'm just going to wait because they're panicking. I think I don't really want to do any more damage to them because that will reduce the salvage I get. But what I will do is see if I can shoot them down. Reload the point of defense. Boom. And they're really going to surrender next turn. There we are. Please leave us alone! Got the ship and go! There we go. I've got the craziest idea for a trailer, by the way. You'll have to see it in the new year. I'm going to start making a trailer. It's crazy even by my standards. So we've got some crew updates. So these guys have leveled up. So I'll show you something that's new. So you can see here that this is now saying, look over here, crew can be upgraded and ship can be upgraded. Previously, I'm not sure it was, only I knew that was the case. So now hopefully it will, there should be a little tooltip there. Actually, I'll add that. But now you can see the crew's been updated. So we've got Jimmy. Find weak spots, always so tempting. It's much better than those, I think. So I'm going to do find weak spot. And then I'm going to do outmaneuver is very good. It's quite expensive on energy. Oh, evade 1 projectile per turn. Got my eye on you. That's one of the newer cards I've got, which is more of it's kind of got a bit like poison for the salvos coming in, where you apply it and then every turn it reduces it by 1, which is quite good for a long range game. So if you're trying to sort of play the long range game, that's the card for you. Outmaneuver is good. Would have been good last time because when they flipped, I could have just flipped them back. So with that in mind, I might take outmaneuver, even though it's expensive. Hopefully it'll become more useful when I upgrade my reactor. Replicator. So I've already got those 2, so I don't want that. But Replicator is quite good because it adds 2 projectiles to the salvo. And it does it while they're in flight. So that's really quite powerful. Especially if you add it to a rare projectile like thermals or ion torpedoes. So that will be useful later. And I'll take the overload reactor because that's just really good for the energy. That will work well with the outmaneuver, because it might be that I can start affording the outmaneuver and the ion pulse, which is quite a nice one. So the ship can be upgraded. So you can see the bits to be upgraded. I can upgrade this armor here, and I can upgrade this weapon. These weapons. I like to save up for a reactor upgrade though. I think it's worth it for the 500. It's a nice early upgrade to take. maybe I shouldn't make it such an obvious decision. Maybe I should keep upping the price until I actually decide to take another one. But for now, I think I generally like to play the long game. If I upgraded that, it would have two slots of torpedoes, which is quite nice. But given I've taken a couple of high energy cards, I think I'm going to just continue. So let's go home. A few more million. What would be interesting? What I should probably do is instead of 15%, I should say how many people have been killed. It might be more emotional to see how many people they've gobbled and eaten. Maybe some little stats. 2,000 grandmas have been eaten. Okay, so we've been detected, but it's just a lame-o scout. They're very brave or stupid. It's a level 1 scout again. So there's a bit of randomization in how hard they are. Generally, they get harder as you get closer to Earth, but it is random. So this is an easy one again. This is pretty almost exactly the same ship. And one of the things that makes them really easy is that they don't have any engineers. So there's no ability to repair. So I'm going to take overload reactor and hope this doesn't catch on fire, which of course it did. So I'm going to have to get someone to put out these fires, and it's the person I need. So anyone can put out fires. The gunners are pretty useful. They've got loads of cards. I can probably do without iron pulse for that. So she's going to start putting out those fires. But I should probably make this go like a bit more red and a bit freaky outy when there's a fire. It used to be super obvious because the effect was like just ridiculous amount of like bloom effect. I've toned it down, but I might have toned it down too much because it doesn't seem amazingly obvious that there's a big fire in there. There's 3 fires, so there's 2 hidden back there, 1, 2, and then 3 over there. So that'll go down by 1 a turn. So it's 3 turns that Sophia's going to be out of action. But my reactor is going to produce 4 energy next turn, so boop, boop, boop. That's going to be nice and juicy. So I'm going to use effective command with that in mind and get a few more draws. And I'm going to go and I might get close, let's be honest. We'll see. They fired at me. I've got 2-point defenses, which is perfect because there's 2 salvos coming in. So I'm going to save those. I'm not going to evade them because my point defenses will take care of them. I just need to have an evade. Reload it. Saved. So what I'm going to do, I think, is move closer. And I might save my energy for 1 more turn. And then I'll have loads of energy. And I'll go on the offensive. Oh, hello, Cataloya. Sorry, I'm not looking at... I haven't been looking at the chat. So, reload. Point defense. I'm just going to take those hits and hope the best. And then I'm going to... Could shunt them back, but I'm going to try and... I don't really want to go for the lights. I might try and take out their engines. Scramble. I've got plenty of... I don't need outmaneuver right now. I'm going to regret removing it, but I'm going to do it anyway. I'm going to wait another turn. So the good thing about the energy being conserved is that I don't need to stress about using cards when I don't need to. In fact, it's better to kind of overwhelm their defenses. It's a shame. It's a shame. I took that out. So Sophia's put out the fires, but the reactor's taken a bit of damage, and so is she. So she'll be okay. She's not that badly damaged. And in fact, I could probably forget about the reactor. It's probably more important to fix that weapon. Oh, it's firing at me again. At least they are reloading now, so that gives me a bit of time. What I really want is some offensive weapons here. Save that reload. Actually, I'll reload my point defense. I'm looking for the hold a steady card. I want to save my shunt. So basic torpedo. I've got plenty of torpedoes. Now I just want to hold her steady. So I'm really going to play the long game, and I'm going to wait another turn. And this is what part of the game I'm trying to cultivate is. You don't have to play. You get rewarded for waiting. So I've waited now, and I've got quite a lot of energy. And I've got what I'm trying to get is a big attack. So I've got 2 basic torpedoes and some reloads in my hand. I can reload that again now. Fine weak. So this is where I want more cards that I can save. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start. I was looking for the hold her steady card so I could really get in. I don't really want those lights. Replicator would be useful. So many good cards. Here we go. There we go. Got lucky. I should have checked this to see if hold her steady was on its way. Hold her steady. Right. So do that. 4. Then I can fire into this nice juicy gap. And I can reload. Reload that. And I can fire again. Could do effective command. You see how all of that stored energy is now coming into play. Because now I can have a really nice turn, and I can make the absolute most of this targeting bonus. So I can reload again. I can do lights. Why not? Might as well. And to spare myself a barrage, I'm going to now move away. So I went in close. I have fired off 3 salvos, and now I'm going to move away. The only thing that I could do, well, this one's going to come in at normal damage, but next turn I'm going to make this vulnerable as well, which will do double damage, and I can probably also replicate one of these. There we go, bam, 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 bam. So that's my lights. Barely scratched it. So I'm definitely going to do find weak spot because I've got 2 salvos coming in. So this now will take double damage from these salvos. They're going to evade 2 of them. Just a bit of a little annoyance. And well, these are coming towards here. So did I scramble them? Yeah, I must have. So you can see that they're not particularly. They've got quite low targeting. Got 0 reloads. So the only thing I can do to replicate that to give it 2 more. What the hell happened there? I'm gonna have to work with that. That looks like some sort of bug. Like when I hovered over it with the replicator. It's a subtle one. That one. It lost its preview of the damage. And then when I added the replicated card, so I've added 2 here, and it's all right now. So I've added 2, and they're going to remove 2. But during that preview, it wasn't quite right, was it? So I'm just going to have to take this hit. I decided to replicate that rather than like I could have moved out again. Maybe that's what I should have done. In any case, I think Sophia is in the firing line, so I'm going to move Sophia back. Maybe to carry on repairing the reactor. So now I'm glad Sophia wasn't standing there. Glad I thought about that. Maybe I should put a little warning saying, watch out, your crew member's going to be in the firing line. And maybe I also should not have them auto moving back to their previous slot like that. Now she's back, but it's okay. So it's a lot of work for Sophia to do now. I could move my other engineer in as well, but I think we're going to be okay because we did quite a lot of damage there. We got right the way through. Bill's panicking. The bridge is completely taken down, so yeah, they're going to be panicking very soon. And if I save up for an outmaneuver, I can flip them right back onto that that damaged side, which would be very satisfying. So what I need to do now is try and take care of these torpedoes. So I can flip. So now at least Sophia can be busy working on this side, healing that side while she's safe from damage for a bit. I could just fire some more. Maybe by the time it gets there, I can outmaneuver them. It'd be quite fun. My main goal now is to try and defend. There we go. So I'm going to try and get my point defenses up. So they're going to use their point defense, but I could. They are hitting my bridge, so that's that. I've got one solid bit of armor there that will probably absorb all of that damage. So it could be, because they're doing point defense, I could do something cheeky and outmaneuver them. So now they can't fire their point defense. This is still carrying on. I've used all my energy to do that, and they're going to hit me next turn, but this is still on target. Okay. I don't know how that missed my bridge. It must have gone straight through my bridge and hit that bit of armor. So it's quite lucky my bridge didn't take any damage there. Okay, right, so they're panicking now, so they're well on the way out. I think when their bridge is down, there's not much left of them. In fact, this is going to be the killing blow, I think. They're reloading, and this is going to just be, vaporize poor Reptoria. I don't know who it was actually. Bert's still alive. Where's my captain? Oh god, please! Captain's dead. I should have captain killed as a big morale penalty actually, shouldn't I? So I'm going to just wait this out because they're going to surrender in a turn. I should almost have a predicted X turns till surrender, because you can probably predict it quite accurately actually. It's not a bad idea. So these games are so much about UX as well, just making it obvious where the strategy is, because there's quite a lot of strategy in this now, but I'm not sure it's immediately clear. Making that really clear and elegant and simple is not necessarily easy. I'll probably have a UX expert to come and play my game. I'm hoping new players will help as well. Right. So I don't know why the music stops when I come in here. Maybe it should be sort of more crew sounds or something. Ah, splitters. So you can see now it exhausts. So when it's played, it gets exhausted. And actually that took quite a bit of time, more time than I hoped it would, which is kind of why I didn't make another card. So splitters is really good for a long distance play. Pack more explosives. I don't think I've picked this on a stream yet. This one is about, this one would actually work really well with splitters because it adds 2. Because splitters goes up exponentially, 2, 4, 8, 16, 32, right? If you can start it higher, if you fire 2 splitters and then you immediately, actually no, replicate's what I want. So yeah, because I've got replicate is the one that adds 2. This one adds more damage. So actually, this splits well with my replicator because my replicator adds 2. So I've already got that. So this is kind of a no-brainer. This one works really well with replicator because I add 2. So I immediately start with 4. So I start 4, 8, 16 straight away. Flesh rippers, always fun. So this is where you can start really killing their crew off. And thermal warheads, also fun. Big barrage, I don't quite have enough firepower right now for that. So I'm going to go for flesh rippers. At some point I might actually not pick everything. There is the option to skip. So if something's not working with your deck, at the moment the game's not that hard, so might as well just pick things by variety, and it's nice to show you guys. So what have we got? So okay, no brainer for me now. So I can upgrade my reactor, which is going to give me 3 energy per turn, which is huge. Whoa, look, having no structure, having I reduced this. This used to be like 600 or something. So now I've reduced the maximum health, and that's becoming a huge problem. Eventually, I'm going to have little outposts that you can come that haven't been taken over by the Reptorians, and it'll be like a shop in Slay the Spire where you can come and fix up. And that's probably going to be the only place you can do upgrades to your ship eventually when I have them, which should be after the playtest. It's one of the first things I'll work on, is the shop and more events and things like that, and relics. I haven't got any relics, things that actually stay with your ship, and it's madness having one of these games without those sort of things. So yes, I will be able to fix structural integrity eventually, but for now it's like a finite resource. And considering I've only done 2 ships and I've already lost half of it, that doesn't bode well. And there's no way of me repairing it. Maybe I need to boost that again before I can actually repair it. I could just add a little repair, couldn't I? I could add a little button here very quickly saying, you know, repair 20 for 100 matter. Why don't I do that? Anyway, so what I could do, I've got 138 left. What I quite like to do early on, I should have done this already, is fire. They shouldn't have upgrade symbols on them. I need to fix that. So I've got more firepower on this side now. I shouldn't make... This will be restricted to when you go to shops eventually, because it's a bit of an exploit really when you first do it. So there we go. Next enemy better be scared. Although, they've done some damage. So this is difficulty 5. So I've gone from difficulty 1 to difficulty 5 straight away. Difficulty 5 won't be that hard for me. They decided to run. So at the moment, I would still catch them up in 5 days because I'm just slightly faster than them. But because I've got plenty of energy, I'm going to go full speed. It will take up 15 a day, but I will get there. So go, 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 go. So they haven't, it's not really much better, that ship. Yeah. That's something I was going to look at this week, was trying to boost the chances of them upgrading. Because all they've done really is upgrade that armor. I'm not really trying to target them like that anyway. But you can see this enemy's got no point defense, so they can evade. So maybe a good strategy for this one would be to first take out the engines, or take out at least one engine, and then they'll be like unable to really do much damage at close range. So if I go close range and try, yeah, let's do that. That sounds like a good strategy for this one. I'm going to start taking out their engines straight away. So now they're firing their thermals. Now that they locked on, I'm just going to fire all I can. Reload again. I'm not going to replicate anything right now. It uses 1 energy. But you can see how much of a big difference it makes, I think, 3 per turn. Now we're firing thermals at me. With thermals, even 1 getting through can be a bit of a pain. So I probably want to deal with those. They're going to start evading me. But not much I can do really. I'm going to move away in maximum distance, and then I'm going to start evading these. It's going to see it's doing 4 because I'm so far away. I think the abstraction is, if you've got more time to evade them, you can evade more of the projectiles. And if you're shooting them down, it's further to shoot away. So the abstraction kind of works with evade is good at long range and point defense is good at short range. At least that's what I tell myself. I'm going to save that hold us steady when I make my next attack run. Meanwhile, I'm going to do that. I could replicate that. Give it a bit more firepower. There we go. I'm going to save that basic torpedoes until I'm a bit closer. I'm going to evade. I'm just going to evade them all because one flying my shit really. Here we go. Bang, 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 bang. Can I get lucky and get the other engine? Didn't quite damage it beyond repair. I need to improve the shaders and effects here because it was using some sort of fluid. I found some fluid library that I could use and it looks quite cool, but it's a bit glitchy. Scramble them. It's time for me to get a bit closer now. Let's get some more draws in. Because now I've got quite a few good attack cards. Find weak spot. I've got basic torpedoes, and I'm going to hold her steady before I do it. So I'm going to go and I'll move closer. Not too close. Let's get rid of this outmaneuver for now. They're going to try and flip. If I manage to take this out, then they wouldn't be able to flip, but fortunately I've got an ion pulse in here. That would have been able to stop them flipping, but to be honest, I actually want them to flip because their strong armor is on this side. So them flipping is in some ways good for me. could continue to try and take this engine out. It's easy to take that left lift. But I kind of defied my own strategy there. It's no wait for... So I could get 50-50. What am I going to get? I'm lucky again. Let's put those fires out. It always seems to be worth the fire. Maybe I should make it so that... It's not necessarily a bad idea, is it? I could make it get worse. So if you overload it once, you have a chance of 3 fires. If you overload it twice, you have a chance of 4 fires. If you overload it 3 times, and it kind of scales up. It's not necessarily a bad idea. It might nerf it a bit because it's kind of a no-brainer, that card at the moment. Splitters. I love splitters. So what I'm going to do is move away, buy myself another turn. I'm going to hold a steady. I'm going to fire these splitters just to show you how fun they can be. And you can see the splitters are going from 2 to 4 next turn. Unfortunately, I did get rid of my replicator. You can't win them all. I'm going to save that find weak spot until it gets closer. I'm going to save that for next turn. Although maybe I can get an evade. Just take a fire. Running away from them. So you can see that's 4 now, going on 8. So I'm going to flip and shoot this down. Flesh rippers. So flesh rippers aren't very useful while they haven't really got crew to rip. If I can get through here and then fire some flesh rippers in, that could be fun. I haven't used my shunt this time. Shunts are quite useful for getting things moving faster. Actually, what shunts are really good for is moving this one back, right? So this is one of those perverse things you do with splitters, is you start moving them back because it gives you even more time to double, which is fiendish. I could find the weak spot here now because there's going to be something hitting next turn. These are miles away, so that's tomorrow's problem. Buy some redraws. Probably worth doing. I could even buy some fire some flesh rippers now to sort of get them in the bank. I'm going to wait. I can hold it steady. Hold it steady's a nice card. Okay, so now they're completely crippled. They can't flip anymore. So if I do damage to this, they're not going to be able to turn around. And believe it or not, they're happy because they've done a bit of damage to me recently. Done damage to me, but it's okay. I guess it's sort of I have done recent damage to myself. It's quite interesting actually, because that's like another reason not to pick overload, because it does damage to your own ship, which kind of makes them a little happier. Yeah, I didn't realise that's quite a good side effect. Now I'm going to hold her steady again, and I'm going to fire my flesh rippers now. So they're gonna follow up from the splitters. So the splitters are going to make a massive hole. To be honest, we'll probably like total them anyway. But I'll follow it up with flesh rippers if there's anyone left alive inside, which there won't be. Unless they do some serious evasion, this is going to get out of control pretty quickly. Evade. I'm so far away I can do evades now. And it's quite effective. Alright, so Sophia's finally finished repairing. She's back at her post. They can do some thermals, so I could scramble them. Scrambling's not very good against thermals because it doesn't really matter too much where they hit. They're going to cause fires if they're in range. Got 2-point defenses, so I just need to reload, which I have, and then I can take care of most of those incoming salvos. Now this is where I start needing to. I have a UX problem because now I think it's like 16 going on 32. If I could get another go back card, then this just gets stupid. So I'm going to shoot these down. Let's do a reload. Shoot that one down. Reload again. Replicator. I could replicate my flesh rippers. Let's wait one turn. I'm not going to replicate that because it's doing its own replication. Because what I really would like is a shunt. Have I got a shunt in here? I have got a shunt. So it's possible I could get another shunt, which would be hilarious. Oh my god. So I can shunt this back again. And God knows how many. I should show you how many are actually in there. I should maybe have big icons, or maybe just start putting a number on here. That's what I should do, isn't it? I should start putting a number on here. Or maybe I can make little tiny pips. So I really don't think I can move it back any further than that. The problem is the Flesh Rippers are going to hit first, but it was worth it for the extra damage because you're going to see next turn. So this is... Oh dear, I think I'm going to have to cap it at 100 or something. I think that was 64. This is my... Believe it or not, they surrendered after that. I mean, I should nerf it, but when I'm smiling that much, I'm not sure I should. Right. Might do one more. Adapt or die. This is where it gets good for when we're later in the game. This is where you can start exhausting cards. So if there's a card that's not fitting the strategy, or like you want to get rid of some of these these worse ones, then you can do that now. This evades all projectiles coming in. Given that I'm playing quite a long game, I could do evade. I've got my eye on you. It's quite a good one. So that evades one projectile per turn, like kind of like poison. Could do 2 replicators, but not really. I don't like to have duplicates of cards in my hand, unless they're exhausts. And one thing I fixed as well last time is there was a huge exploit where you could come back and it would redraw a different set of 3 reward cards, which meant you could just come back and keep picking the one you want. But unfortunately, those days are over, and I have to choose one of these. I could do Thermal Pulse, but I'm not going for a fire run. So actually, I'm not going to pick this because it's not working with my current deck. It will just dilute my deck, and Thermal Pulse by itself isn't very useful. You want things that sort of increase fires. In fact, I should have an Oxygen Blast. I'm gonna write that down, like something that sort of doubles the fire or something, like a sort of oxygen pulse that you can will sort of like fan the flames of the fires. I get most of my ideas on these streams, so I'm tempted to just go offensive. So I've upgraded this. Now fires 2, so I've got 3 attack on this side. Man, got quite a lot of energy. I could just blast it to Earth. So this Reptorian scout hasn't seen us, so they're meandering away from us quite slowly. I'm going to try and catch them up as quickly as possible anyway. They've seen me, they're running. I haven't seen any big ones yet, but a little bit more beefy, but not very beefy. This is where I think I probably will start maybe midway through a run next time. Maybe I could have a sort of debug hack where I can say start 15 light years away or something. Then you wouldn't have the cards, but I could fake that as well. I can use my Flesh Rippers. So Flesh Rippers aren't they're like as powerful as light torpedoes, so they're not very good really. I forgot to talk about the salvage, by the way. I should mention that next time. Like, there's a good reason I'm not attacking these, because these are worth tons of salvage. I haven't been making that obvious. I'm not going to do anything this time. I'm going to scramble and do some long-term thing. But I'm not going to do anything. I'm going to sort of bide my time, bide my energy. I'm going to fire some thermals at me. I don't need Flesh Rippers right now. What I want is to get close. Bam, bam, bam. That's what I want to do. Got 2 redraws, so I could get lucky. I'm going to move in close. I'm going to... Can I do the same trick with the engines? They are nicely exposed. Great focus. It would be nice to have hold her steady. Hold her steady is There we go. So now they've got engineers. That's the big upgrade for this one. So they've got people that can fix. Barry over there, Frank over there. They're going to evade. Are they going to shoot down 4 of those? So I could ion pulse their weapon system. So this gets through. The other thing that if I can get lucky, I'm going to evade that. Maybe save a point defense for next time. I'm not going to do find weak spot now. I could evade again, but I think point defense would be more effective. Splitters. I'm too close for splitters. They're not very effective unless, as you just saw, they're far away. Replicator. Save up the splitters. I'm not getting very lucky with these cards. Ion pulse. I haven't seen an ion pulse yet. Well, no, I think I did show an ion pulse earlier. I'd like to get those torpedoes through, so I'm going to disable that. I've disabled their reactor at the same time, so they're not producing any energy, and they're not going to be able to shoot me down next turn. Flesh rippers would have been quite good. If I could get flesh rippers down at the engines here, I could slice those little Reptorians right up. So they've got thermals coming in hot. I can flip. And let's see what I get. I would like to fire these off and then flip if I can. So let's see if I can. I really want to remove anything. I'm going to fire some more lights. See if I can finish off Frank. He's pretty wounded. I'm going to lock on. Got no more redraws, so I'm going to flip and I'm going to fire him now. Great. I could quite like point defense, but I like point defense a bit more than. And I've only got 1 point defense. I can reload it. Let's just see if I can. There we go. I think it's a big prize. Barry's bravely continuing to. I should probably make it so that there's a little less damage from regular weapons against these guys. And a bit more. That means that there's a bit more of a reason to use shredders. Or maybe eventually they have a med bay and they can go back. Probably what I should do. Right, overload. I'm going to get lucky. Been unlucky twice in a row. 3 times in a row. Of course I am. Repair. They're reloading, so I've got 1 turn of reprieve. I'm going to spend it on more redraws, and I'm going to start reloading. Reload that point defense for when we need it later. I think I might get rid of one of my evades, you know. Let's exhaust that. What that means is that evade is now not going to be in my hand for the rest of the turn. So it means that they cycle faster because now I've got, 23 cards. It's 23, 45, 27 cards. So it's hard to cycle them. So you actually want to start removing some of the weaker ones. As anyone that's played Slay the Spire will know, exhaust is, it seems like a strange thing to do when you first hear about it. But it actually ends up being quite good. So now what I could do with is some nice attack cards because I've got Hold Her Steady. Basic Torpedo, that's an attack card. Outmaneuver, I'm going to regret getting rid of that. I'm going to wait 1 turn, see if I can get myself some more attack cards. Effective Command, got to have those redraws. Redraws are like gold when it gets later on. So yeah, Effective Command becomes more and more powerful as you go along. And more sort of tasty. Got eye on you, so that would be very useful for these thermals, I think. But at the same time, and so will point defense. I want to Hold Her Steady. So I'm going to take the gamble. I'm going to Hold Her Steady, and then I'm going to take the gamble that I can. I'm really tempted to try and take out Barry here while he's recovering, because they do get a bit unhappy about their crew being killed. Let's reload. So what I want to do is start going long distance. I want to keep I've got my eye on you because I think that's going to be good for these thermals. I'm going to scramble the shunt. So it's going to be quite nice. I'll shunt this one forwards. It's going to hit next turn, so Barry's not going to have much time to repair. Poor old Barry. What did he do? So I'm just going to wait a turn and see what transpires, because I've run out of resources. Barry is vaporized. So they are now. I'm surprised they're still so happy. I think it's because of the damage to my ship. So I've got my eye on you now. Look, this is going to do evade one projectile each turn, which will add up over time. So what I'm going to do now is play the long game. So it's going to have quite a few turns to reach me now. So I've gone miles away. Fire my splitters. It's quite a powerful bridge, but I think I can get through anyway. So I'm self-exhausted, so I can only ever play one splitters every turn, so every combat, which makes up for the fact it's like ridiculous. So if that does get shot down, then it's the only one I had. But I can replicate it straight away. So now it's 4, right out of the bat. Overload reactor again. Ah! That's a bit of a strange bit of UX there. Right, the repair slot is in the same place as the the firefighting slot. Right, let's take part of this, and I'm going to do a normal evade on this as well. Maybe I don't need to. Maybe it will get rid of itself over time. I don't think it will be 4, 3, 2. So it will have 2 left. We should evade it, shouldn't I? Might as well just get rid of it. So next turn it will go to 0. So they are going to try and shoot that down. So I could... Have I got an ion pulse left? No. That's not going to hit yet. So I might try and... There must be something I can do to... I think if I moved it back one, it would be even less. If I had a shift back. No, I don't even have one of those. So there's no way I'm going to shift it back. I'm just going to have to take that 2, I think. It's fine. It's still going to double again. It's still going to be very effective. Save that weak spot when they're coming in. Not that I think they'll punch through anything pretty much. Flesh rippers. I could use those to fight follow up, but it seems a bit overkill. Let's just fire. Why not? At this point, I think I can probably start moving point defenses as well. So it's been fully evaded because I've got my eye on you. I quite like that card. Quite like that one. So they're reloading, gives me 1 turn. I'm going to save my weak spot for another one. Might as well. Get some more redraws. So I've got plenty of tactical capability now. I'm going to save up for that weak spot. I think I should probably start getting rid of lights as well, because lights are I'm not using them anymore, am I? Not energy. And Sophia's taken some burns for the team. So I could move Sophia to the sick bay, but she's probably okay. She's not in any imminent danger. Okay, so it is going to hit next turn unless I can get some sort of shunt. Have I got a shunt in here? There is shunt in here. I've got 16 cards and only 8 claws. I won't need outmaneuver. And we'll continue firing. Oh, I've got a shunt. There we go. Got lucky, so I can move that back again and get the double. Don't really need that anymore. It's getting ridiculous. The study would have been quite nice earlier. I wonder if there should be a card that can increase the accuracy of a thing in flight. That'd be quite good, wouldn't it? So if you had something that while it's flying, you can then increase the accuracy of it later on, rather than having to do it as you fire. A sort of, tightening protocol or something. I'm going to write this down as well. Come up with 2 good ideas for cars during this. That's why I play, and it hasn't crashed. Oh, I'm going to touch wood on that one. It shouldn't. I'm trying to make it as stable as possible for the playtest, which I'm hoping to release a couple of weeks just before Christmas as a little Christmas gift. And my artist has come up with some pretty interesting bit of artwork oh god, I love this job sometimes when I ask him for these things, and he draw me some ridiculous sexy Reptorian, but you've got to wait and see for that. Okay, right, I don't think I need point defense anymore. I think I probably do. I just want to start exhausting things. Oh, find weak spot. Do it. That would have been a shame. So find weak spots, doubled the vulnerability on this armor, so that now it's just going to be an absolute obliteration next turn. In fact, I don't think I need to do anything. I'm just going to obliterate them. Fireworks. Because this is split so many times. It's just stupid. Oh, too powerful, isn't it? I'm going to have to nerf it again. You only get one. You only get one. So I've got them down to minus 240 hull. There should definitely be a penalty to salvage for destroying them and destroying their hull, which could be another offset for that card being overpowered. So you can completely obliterate them with that card, but it has completely destroyed their structural integrity. So as well as having salvage for undamaged armor, you get lots, and well, for a bit, and then if you've moderately damaged, you get some. Completely damaged, you get 10%. Weapons, you get a lot, so you don't want to damage them. Engines, I think you get 30. So damaging the engines is not necessarily a great strategy if you want just maximum salvage. But I should also have something about a bonus for. Or a penalty for the amount of structural integrity you did, because I did tons of structural integrity there. And there we go. So I am gonna cut it there, I'm afraid, guys. I will try and add a few more cards before the playtest, and I'll send an email around shortly in the next week or so to people on the mailing list to let people know how they can get hold of a key. And once you've got the key, any updates I do will be automatically picked up, and you can play with it whenever you like. Because my ultimate goal, well, not my ultimate goal, but the goal after that will be to get a demo where I can actually sort of let anyone play, really. And then when I add something, it was like, well, you can play it now, play with it now. More like on a monthly cadence. But I'm getting ahead of myself. So yeah, I will. Thanks for listening, for everyone that's come and stayed with me. And I will see you